Alrighty, so today we're doing a drawn out, and what my patrons voted for was they voted on for me to do a human version of a zodiac sign. And I let them be like, I was like, leave a comment of which one you'd like, and every single one of you picked a different one. None of you agreed on which sign to do. And so I picked Aquarius. There were a couple of different options, and Aquarius was the one that drew me in the most. So we're rolling with Aquarius today. Aquarius is is represented by the water bearer. Usually it's just like a jar of water, like a jug. And something I've never liked about Aquarius is that, so each zodiac sign is attributed to an element. There are 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. And Aquarius is an air sign. And that bothers me because it's a jug of water, but it's an air sign. So it always trips me up. I'm always like, it's a water sign, and it's not. And so yeah, that's just a more personal thing. I suppose I should like try to attribute it to something like bubbles. Like if I were to give this character like a power, like if they could do magic or something, it'd be bubble. Cause that's a mix between water and air, now isn't it? Yeah, we'll roll with that. Aquarius equals bubbles. So yeah, other fun things about Aquarius is that it's, the planet that, like, rules it is Uranus. Now, isn't that exciting? So, so I have a passing interest in the Zodiac. I know that it's quite a popular sort of interest to have these days, is to be interested in the zodiac signs, and I think that's cool. I dig that, because for too long, people who liked, like, astrology were kind of lumped into, like, being, like weirdos or whatever. So I'm glad that it's become mainstream, because this stuff's just fun. Now, I guess I should actually talk about the humanization of Aquarius here. So, I just went with, like, a hips up shot, because I don't know, sometimes you don't want to draw legs, sometimes you just need to focus on the torso. And at first I was kind of struggling to figure out what I'd wanted to do with the pose. Like, at first I had thought about doing like a straight on, like walking towards camera, but I didn't like that, so I played around with a couple of different ideas before, like, properly starting, and I came up with this one where, like, their hair is sort of washing around them, because I wanted to imply the look of pouring water, because it's a jug of water, it's a water bearer, so yeah, that was important, and as is so often the case, if that's what your goal is with a character design, hair equals water easily. So I'm really proud of this, actually. I think it's a very cool design. The goal had been to make them a dude, cause I feel like with long-haired characters like this, it's easy to just go, oh, it'll be a girl, cause girls' hair tends to be longer naturally, but I'm a sucker for long-haired boys. They end up looking pretty gender-neutral, though, so perhaps they would be a they-them gendered character instead. This one was fun because so often what I'll do when I'm designing characters is I tend to think of a story as I go, because it's just easier. Like, you kind of just naturally start attributing characteristics to a design, at least I do, and that can help with, like, making design choices. But I kind of didn't this time. Like, I kind of just had a basic character of, they're tired, and I don't even think that's, like, a particularly Aquarius-esque characteristic to have, to be apathetic or lethargic. But I think because of the pose I picked, I was just like, yeah, they're sleepy. They are droopy, and they are tired. I think it turns out really cool. You'll have to let me know, because I'm fascinated with the Zodiac, but I don't know where to obtain any good information about it. Because, you know, I mean, like, Wikipedia is helpful, but I feel like so many of the websites that are, like learn about the Zodiac, you know, and it's like horoscope.com, you know, stuff that's like very much aimed at just getting a little bit of ad revenue every day by copy and pasting the same, like, horoscopes at you. Like, they have, like, a canned collection of facts to give you. Like, here's something I've noticed. According to every single website, every single zodiac sign is great at sex. And it's like, shut up. That has nothing to do with it. And also, if you're going out of your way to mention how they're all super good in their own unique way, then it's not worth talking about. But maybe that's just me. So yeah, don't be afraid to share your thoughts about the Zodiac, and especially our Aquarius friend here, if you do happen to know quite a bit more about astrology and the Zodiac, because I'd love to hear it, because since I did end up kind of going in with very little character in mind, that means I'm significantly more willing to pay attention to what you have to say and take, like, your suggestions. Not that I'm planning on, like, using this character for anything, but hey, just in case. I think, so, this is a little bit off topic, a little bit of a tangent, but I figured I'd share. While I struggle to color in this hair, I don't know why I couldn't. His hair bothered me so much, I don't know what was wrong with me, but the sort of off-topic fun fact is I would love to start making pins, like enamel pins, but that's expensive. So it's out of my price range currently, but I would love to make pins. I think it would be so cool. I just like pins. Selfishly, I would make them so that I could keep one for a cool pin collection. So yeah, I think if I were to make pins, I think having this Zodiac series, because now that I've drawn one, I have to draw them all. Having the Zodiac series available as enamel pins would be really cool. Let me know what you think about all of that. Coming back to Aquarius here, so the color palette was pretty easy. Because since it's pouring water, and I already knew that I wanted this, like, lighter blue color for the hair, that just meant I had to figure out, like, okay, so what's the rest of him wear? It's gonna be blue. Like, I wanted to keep to this, like, sort of formal blue palette, you know, Prussian blues and ultramarines. I wanted him to look sort of opulent, well-to-do, in a way. Again, no good reason why. I wish I knew more about the Zodiac stuff so that I could drop more fun facts on you, and so I could be a little bit more educated on how I design the characters. This is all basically just rolling with vague stereotypes about, like the design as I came up with it, you know, like, oh, he's got long hair, and he's pretty, so that means he must be, like, rich, and, you know, kind of, like, which is the least understandable train of thought anyone's ever had. So yeah, again, please tell me where I can find out more information about the Zodiac signs, because I think they're super fun. Another fun thing that I did here, I don't know why, I was just like, I guess because I was just in the zone and I only had the torso to work with here, but I decided to do some proper shading. Now let me explain what that means. So usually what I'll do is I will have one layer set to multiply, and I'll just use one color, usually like a dark bluish purple, to shade in the entire picture. And that totally works. Nothing wrong with that method. However, I am able to recognize that your colors are more sort of vibrant and they got a little bit more life to them if you, by hand, like, shade each color properly, that's in air quotes, instead of just, like, doing the multiply method. It gives things a little bit more life. And a part of me wishes I did that more, but another part of me is too lazy. But yeah, I decided to do that, actually, and I think it looks really nice. It always does. Because, yeah, the shading colors are just really, like, saturated and clean and tasty looking. So, I'm happy I did that. That does mean I've set this precedent that now for the rest of the Zodiac series, as I go about this, I have to do this for all of them. But oh no, my art gets to look good. Oh, Dang. What a mistake. Oh, bonus fact, I suppose. If you don't know what your zodiac sign is, you can easily look that up on Google. Like, if you just Google, like, what's my zodiac sign, tons of different websites will pop up, letting you know, like, when each sign starts and stops. But for Aquarius here, just to let you know, just in case, it's January 19th to February 19th-ish. So, yeah, if that's when your birthday is, then hey, happy birthday. So hair is a constant puzzle to me. I'm eternally trying to, like, figure out if I'm happy with how I do hair. Hair is so hard. I feel like so often, you know, I don't know how I feel about it being kind of just like a big mass, because I don't do like individual strands. I've never really been able to do that without it looking bad. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about hair. Let me know what you think about drawing hair. How do you think you do it well? How do you do it? Don't be afraid to try to start a conversation with me, ever, in the comments, because I'm a lonely person. No, but for real, like, if you ask a question, I'll probably reply, and I don't mind engaging with you in relation to art, especially. Never be afraid to just share your thoughts, and whether that be like thoughts on how you think my art can improve, or just like how you do, like how you illustrate and what your process is. We're all here to have a fun conversation, now aren't we? I would hope so. That's why I called them drawn outs, because the conversation gets drawn out. Get it? It might be the stupidest and smartest title I've ever come up with for anything. Which is a fascinating bar to set. So, more facts about this, like, shirt design. I don't know, since I was, like, vaguely like, I want him to look opulent, but I also looked up no references. Like, and usually I would if I'm, like, setting out to achieve a specific aesthetic, but I don't know why, just for Aquarius here, I was like, just go forward. It ends up having quite a bit of a Tales of feel to it, like the Tales of RPG series, like Tales of Arise, Tales of the Abyss, and I gotta say, I ain't mad about that. I really love the Tales series. I think they've shaped how I approach fantasy designs quite a lot. You can usually tell what someone's JRPG of choice is if they're an artist, if you pay attention to how they illustrate fantasy, because people who like Final Fantasy more will tend to lean closer towards a more modern design for their characters. Meanwhile, those of us who prefer Tales of games will have these wacky, silly designs that that have like trim on sleeves and stuff that don't really make sense, but they also kind of do. It's a cool style to try to achieve, and I think it's a lot of fun. Also, yeah, I hope you paid attention to how I messed up one of the arms, and I think I go back to shade that in more, because I'm dumb. I'm dumb and bad at art. I really like these sheer elements I also gave him. I remember, I don't know how I came to this conclusion of wanting him to have like a see-through shirt underneath the jacket. Again, I don't even think that's a particularly Aquarius type of article of clothing. But it just felt so right, and I think it's because of the water, which doesn't work, because Aquarius is an air element. But I really like it. I think, so sheer elements can be pretty difficult to do. And every time people have like tights or leggings or whatever in their art, and it looks good, I'm always like, I'm impressed. You're a god. My trick is I color in the skin underneath, and then I put like a slightly opaque layer of whatever color I want over that. Like, I'm cheating. That's what I'm doing. And then I think I incorporate elements of the skin color into the shine as well to try to imply the sort of see-through look of the fabric. It's hard. Some textures are just really hard to do. So if you feel like you're not getting it right away, try to, first of all, don't let that get you down. And just try to see what other people do. Never be afraid to ask questions. I feel like, unfortunately, too many artists don't actually answer. Like, if you leave a question on their Twitter or something, like, how'd you do this? Or, like, do you have any tips or whatever? They usually won't reply. And I get it, they're busy, but that's a bit of a bummer, because being able to ask questions and interact with others is a great way to learn. So, yeah, it never hurts to ask. If they are like a huge jerk about it, then wow, what a jerk. Maybe don't interact with them anymore. The water, fun fact, was actually a lot of fun. Very easy. What I did is, so the water's line art is on its own layer, and so both it and the water color itself are at about 50% opacity. Cause water's opaque, you can see through water. Duh, it's clear. And so, yeah, that's just how I always go about doing, like, water like this, is just have it be literally see-through. That's the cool part about digital art, is that you can just make things opaque. Have fun watching me struggle to find a brush that I like for the background that I don't end up using. I'm in a very simple background mood these days. But yeah, never be afraid to work with textures, like for example how I added like really stark shine to the jar to help keep it looking like a different texture from his skin or the clothes or the hair. Because that can really help to give some life to your art. Because if everything looks like it's the same texture, it can kind of flatten the image, Yeah. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed Aquarius. I hope you look forward to whatever Zodiac I do next. There's no guarantee I'm gonna go in order here. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks for being here.